Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into some really fascinating source material, excerpts from a novel called Alma by William Bell.
That's right.
And our goal for this deep dive is to sort of uncover this story here. We've got a young girl, Alma, with this unique way of seeing things.
Yeah, and words specifically.
Exactly. And there's a mystery, a surprising friendship. It all seems to stem from, well, the details in these pages.
We'll unpack her world, Charlotte's Bright, meet some characters you won't forget, and see how, like you said, a simple school assignment kicks off something huge.
Okay, let's dive in. So, Alma Neal. We
Right.
start with this story assignment, right, from Miss McAllister.
Yeah.
And right away, you see Alma's mind just works differently.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just, regular homework for her. She has this whole system, inspired by Lewis Carroll, actually.
How does that work?
Well, she finds words with numbers in them, like once, and bumps it up so once becomes twice. Or she takes opposites, like day becomes night,
Which gives us these amazing phrases like twice down off, two times.
instead of once upon a time, yeah.
And my personal favorite, two are empty. It's brilliant. What does that tell us about her right off the bat?
It's like an instant look inside her head, isn't it? She's not just following rules, she's playing with language, seeing connections, possibilities that most people would just miss. Really imaginative.
So how does the adults react? Her teacher, Miss McAllister.
Not well at first. The text says she's slapping the papers to the table, frustrated. Says something like, well, you get the idea, dismissive, sort of.
But her mother, Clara.
Clara. It's interesting. First, she's nervous that snick habit the text mentions. Her mouth tightens. But then she sees tutor empty.
And she laughs.
She laughs, even though Miss McAllister's clearly annoyed. Miffed is the word used.
That feels important, the mother's laughter.
Mm-hmm.
Alma wants to explain her logic but can't quite manage it, and later wishes she could have shared that laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Sets a tension, maybe.
Definitely. Between her internal world and, what people expect. And Miss McAllister's final word on it really hits that home. She calls it unacceptable.
Even though she says it's clever.
Right. Clever though it may be, but unacceptable because it didn't follow the guidelines. She lets Alma rewrite it, which is something, I guess, but the message is clear. Rules first, creativity second.
And that clash, yeah, you can see that being a theme.
Yeah.
So outside of that specific assignment, what else is going on in Alma's world? School, home.
Well, school has its ups and downs. She loves it when Miss McAllister reads aloud. Total escape. Closes her eyes, sailing away, as the text puts it.
Lost in the story.
Completely. Until the bell rings. And penmanship. She loves cursive, loves filling the lines. Her favorite letter is W. It says it's much more fun than school penmanship later.
Hinting at something.
Maybe hinting at the calligraphy later, yeah? But school's also tough. There's jealousy towards Louise Arsenal, the teacher's pet, who has nice things, friends.
And then the mean girls later, Polly and Samantha, mocking her mom at the library.
Yeah, I smell French fries. It's cruel. Shows those social pressures, maybe small-town cliques.
And home life sounds challenging, too.
Yeah.
Living with Clara above the Liffey pub.
Right, through the alley or the storage rooms. Clara works late. She's tired, always worried about money. Cash we can ill afford. And we learn her father died in a farming accident when Alma was tiny, less than a year old.
Wow. So they're really just scraping by.
Seems like it. Which makes Alma's love for books even more important, maybe. It's her escape, her passion.
Her mom encourages the library card. There's that slight inconsistency in the text about whether her mom or dad took her.
Yeah, that's a curious little detail, given he died so early. But the main thing is, books are central.
Definitely. She has her own shelf, used books from the turnaround, and she treasures those R.R. Hawkins books.
Oh yeah, the Center World Trilogy, Alter World series. Matched set, cloth covers, but stamped discard inside.
Right. But also RRH inscribed in golden Gothic letters, like rescued treasures.
Exactly. Maybe like Alma sees herself, in a way.
So school, home, books, and then things start to shift. There's this incident with the crayons at school.
Yeah, stealing crayon stubs. It says without thinking, but then she immediately feels awful, scared she got caught, like a little secret guilt building up.
Which makes the phone call from Miss McAllister terrifying.
Oh, absolutely. Alma's convinced it's about the crayons. She feels like a thief, totally exposed.
But Clara steps in. Relax, dear. It's good news this time.
Phew.
Huge relief. And the good news is unexpected. A visitor to the class, Olivia Chenoweth, needs help for her mother.
And the Chenoweths, Olivia and her mother, Miss Lily, they've moved into the old Stewart house near the harbor.
The one rumored to be haunted, yeah. Now it's the Chenoweth house. Described with a dormer, peeling paint, a broken railing that gets fixed later. It has an atmosphere.
And Alma gets the job, copying letters for Miss Lily. What's that like, stepping into that house?
It's intimidating. Miss Lily is presented as pretty formidable. Elderly, right scowly, stern, thick eyebrows. Alma thinks of Miss Havisham and Clara's description. Skinny and ugly, and she looks like she just got up out of a coffin. Ouch.
Not very nice, no, but it paints a picture. Our voice is throaty, stony, sits in a wingback chair like an ogre, uses a walking stick.
And she challenges Alma right away about her name's meaning.
Yeah, one who nurtures, learned, sets the bar high.
Then there's Miss Olivia, the daughter. Less scary.
Seems so. Plump, wears glass beads, gap in her teeth, acts as the go-between. Alma notices her smell, which is another one of those sharp, observant details from Alma.
And the job itself. Copying letters.
With a quill pen, a strange one, no point, wooden barrel, tapers like a rat's tail. Alma has to learn how to dip it, clear the nib, old school stuff.
The letters themselves are weird.
Well, Miss Lily's turning down interviews, invitations, like a celebrity might. And the big clue, no return address on the envelopes, Alma writes.
Alma notices that. That's strange, she thinks. School taught her differently.
Exactly. It's the first real breadcrumb of the mystery, but Alma hates it there at first.
Right, the house is dreary, overheated. The women are strange. She wants out.
Only stays because Clara insists they need the money. It's purely practical for her initially.
But then something changes. The job starts to, I don't know, capture her interest.
Yeah, specifically the writing itself. Miss Lily clocks it, asks if she's interested in calligraphy.
But makes it sound like an accusation.
Classic Miss Lily.
Yeah.
But then she opens up, talks about monks, the Book of Kells, calligraphy as a skill.
That must have been amazing for Alma.
And then the clincher. Miss Lily lends her a calligraphy book, gives her a pen, nibs, ink, a real gift.
And Alma just runs with it.
Totally. Practices at home, finds it way more fun than school penmanship. Studies different styles, likes Carolingian, half-uncials, finds Gothic too dark, learns about nibs, even asks her mom for a proper pen.
It's becoming a real passion. And then comes the school biography assignment.
Perfect timing. She picks her favorite author, obviously, R.R. Hawkins.
Off to the library for research.
Where she encounters contrasting librarians. Mr. Winter's skinny, oily hair, squeaky shoes, not very helpful.
But Ms. McGregor, the head librarian she likes, the knowledgeable one,
is absent. So Alma's kind of on her own with the less enthusiastic Mr. Winters and the library resources, card catalog, encyclopedias, the vertical file.
But she finds stuff, right?
Yeah.
About R.R. Hawkins.
Oh, yeah. Big stuff. R.R. stands for Rachel Rebecca. Alma's shocked female, she writes in her notes. Born NYC, London, Cambridge, fame, wealth.
But also the reclusive part.
Right. Dropped out of sight after difficulties, a failed marriage is mentioned, speculation about where she is, maybe even dead, but the books kept coming out.
Which doesn't quite add up.
Exactly. Alma's left with more questions than answers.
And Clara helps out again, in her own way.
By borrowing the reference file Mr. Winters said couldn't leave the library, what he doesn't know won't hurt him. Practical Clara.
She even comes up with her own theory about why Hawkins became a recluse. Forbidden romance.
Yeah, spinning a story from the facts Alma found, though she warns Alma not to put that in her report.
So all this research, combined with the weird letters, the no return address, Alma starts putting pieces together.
The detective work begins. Could Miss Lily be R.R. Hawkins?
What are the clues she's connecting?
Okay, so Miss Lily is tall, like the author photo, loves books, okay, lots of people do, refuses interview invitations, like a recluse, no return address on letters.
Makes her hard to find.
Exactly. And she's unmarried, Miss Lily, could connect to that failed marriage info about Hawkins.
But Alma's smart enough to see the holes too, right?
Yeah, she notes counter-arguments. Lots of tall women like books. And Lily doesn't start with R. She's weighing the evidence.
The really clever bit is her deduction about the mail, isn't it?
Totally. If Miss Lily gets mail to reply to but gives no return address, it must come indirectly. Through a publisher, maybe? Because if she just mailed replies from Charlotte's Bite,
anyone can find her, which a famous recluse wouldn't want.
Precisely. It strengthens the suspicion enormously.
So Alma cooks up a plan. A test.
A brilliant, slightly sneaky test. Write to R.R. Hawkins, care of the publisher in New York.
But mail it from Charlotte's Bite.
Right. Use a fake name, Hattie Scrivener, which she likes, Scrivener, meaning writer, and disguise her handwriting.
And the theory is,
if Miss Lily is R.R. Hawkins, the letter gets forwarded to her here, in Charlotte's Bite. And Alma, copying the letters, will see the reply addressed to Hattie Scrivener.
Wow, that's quite a scheme. She realizes the postmark is a giveaway, but figures she can't help that.
Yeah, oh well, she thinks. She's going for it. Shows real nerve.
And while all this is brewing, her actual relationship with Miss Lily is changing too.
It is. That calligraphy gift seems to be a turning point. Alma softens toward her employer, starts seeing past the intimidating exterior.
And Miss Lily starts inviting her into the study more.
Yes, after the copying work. Alma is still nervous, feels that tingling sensation, probably partly because of the Hattie Scrivener letter she sent.
But those visits become important.
Very. They talk books, history, myths. Miss Lily gives her calligraphy tips, shares her favorite style is uncial, which happens to be Alma's favorite too, from the book. A real connection.
And Miss Lily praises her, calls her a scribe, says she has books in your soul. That must mean the world to Alma.
Absolutely huge validation. And Alma's eagerness shows when she looks up vellum later instead of asking. She wants to learn.
Then she finds out it was Miss Lily's 70th birthday.
Yeah, just by copying a letter. Feels guilty she missed it. Clara lets her use some earnings for a gift.
And she picks that quilted pillow with local scenes.
From the gift shop, yeah. Lighthouse, shells, Dory. A thoughtful connection to Charlotte's bite.
Which leads to a pretty emotional reaction.
It does. Alma gives her the pillow and Miss Lily is just overcome, starts crying, sobbing even. Miss Olivia whisks Alma away, saying she's just a bit overcome.
Leaving Alma confused, embarrassed. Was the gift bad?
She wonders that. But the real reveal isn't far behind.
The letter.
The letter. Copying the next batch, Alma sees it. Dear Hattie Scrivener.
Boom. Heart pounds, mouth goes dry. Plan worked. She knows.
She knows. Miss Lily is R.R. Hawkins. She's overwhelmed, excited, scared, keeps the secret close, like that piece of sponge toffee melting slowly.
And she even writes back as Hattie. Asks why she stopped writing. Asks for advice on her own story, the Dream-ary.
Bold move. Shows she wants that connection, that mentorship more than anything.
And things seem to be getting closer. Miss Olivia trusts Alma more, leaves her alone with Miss Lily.
Which adds to the weight. Alma feels the trust, the secret, the trick she played.
There's that lovely scene, the walk to the harbor.
Oh, yeah. Miss Lily leaning on Alma, going to her favorite spot. They talk about the passion to write. Miss Lily admits she lost hers, isn't sure she'll get it back. Now, I'm not so sure.
So vulnerable.
Oh.
It makes Alma wonder if R.R. Hawkins will ever write again.
And Alma gets advice on the Dream-ary, too. Miss Lily loves the title, says the story finds its own length. Crucial advice. And tells her to resolve the character Sammy's feelings.
Real concrete feedback from R. Hawkins. But then, the school story contest.
Right. Where Washu finds its own length, clashes head-on with Miss McAllister's rules. Alma's story is disqualified for being too long. Miss McAllister says she willfully refused to follow the rules.
And Alma feels that shame, that burning face again.
And this time, she snaps, fueled by humiliation, maybe wanting to prove Miss McAllister wrong.
She blurts it out.
Yells that a famous author, the best author in the world, told her stories find their own length, and then drops the bombshell. It was R.R. Hawkins, she's my friend.
Oh no. Instant regret.
Immediate shame runs home.
The aftermath sounds awful. Hiding at home, screaming silently, physically sick. Her conscience is eating her alive.
Totally. Thinks Miss Lily will hate her, leave, that she's ruined her own chance to be a writer because she betrayed this trust.
She finally confesses everything to Clara.
I told on her, ruined everything. Explains about Hattie Scrivener, why she blurted it out, anger, trying to impress Miss McAllister, maybe.
And Clara's reaction is understanding.
Disappointed, yes, but understanding of the motive. You wanted to lift yourself by revealing someone else's secret. And she insists Alma has to face Miss Lily.
Which Alma must be dreading.
Absolutely terrified when Miss Lillian and Miss Olivia actually show up at their apartment. Hands clenched, expects the worst. Clara introduces them formally. Mrs. Chenoweth and Miss Hawkins. Miss Lily has a bag.
And Miss Lily starts with, Alma, I'm very disappointed in you.
And Alma just breaks down, interrupts, sobbing. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Apologizes for everything, grieves losing the friendship she valued so much.
But Miss Lily, she flips the script, doesn't she?
Completely, she clarifies. She's disappointed. Alma thought she would hold a grudge, that Alma didn't trust their friendship enough. The disappointment isn't about the secret being out, it's about Alma's fear of her reaction.
Wow. Forgiveness. Alma must be stunned.
Totally. You mean, but she can barely process it.
And then the gift. The bag.
7 brand new, leather-bound copies of the Ultra World series. Smell of leather and ink and fine quality paper
And the inscription.
in each one. To my friend and fellow writer, Alma, in Miss Lily's jittery handwriting.
Fellow writer, that's huge.
It's everything. Over tea, they talk. Hawkins wants privacy, not total secrecy. They moved from Boston to get away from city life. Alma feels this huge wave of relief, and Miss Olivia asks her to keep coming. The connection is saved.
And Alma realizes the inscription answers her Hattie Scrivener question. Why did she stop writing? She didn't stop. She wrote again for Alma, these books.
Such a powerful moment. But the story isn't quite over. There's another twist.
Oh, right, the stroke. Miss Lily has a stroke, ends up hospitalized, frail, unresponsive.
Alma visits but can't communicate with her. And then Miss Olivia asks Alma for help tidying the house.
Which must feel awkward, difficult.
Yep, she agrees. And while she's in the study, getting Miss Lily's glasses and book,
She finds it.
the manuscript, stack of papers, envelope to the publisher, and the title page, The Dream-ary by R. Hawkins.
Oh man, after everything, the forgiveness, the gift.
The complete shock. It couldn't be. Alma tries to rationalize. Maybe she borrowed the title, maybe she's going to ask. But the thought takes root. Did R. Hawkins steal my story?
This becomes a new secret. A torment.
Yes, a troublesome nature, the text says. It's a question, not a fact, but it haunts her. She weighs the good things, the friendship, the kindness, the praise against this one piece of damning evidence.
And the suspicion wins out.
Slowly but inexorably, the text says. By March, she concludes painfully, it's the only explanation that makes sense. R. Hawkins stole my story.
How does she even function carrying that?
Well, life goes on. Spring comes. She actually becomes friends with Louise Arsenal, the former rival. They write a mystery together. She does well in school.
And she keeps seeing Miss Lily.
Yes, her role changes. She becomes Miss Lily's companion. Visits twice a week, helps Miss Olivia. It's not about copying letters anymore. People writing to Hawkins get form letters now.
Why does she go back with that suspicion hanging over her?
The text suggests she felt she couldn't refuse Miss Olivia's plea, the belief her presence helped Miss Lily, a sense of loyalty maybe. Miss Lily didn't abandon her, so she couldn't abandon Miss Lily despite the hurt.
And Miss Lily is recovering slowly.
Very slowly. Communication is hard, but her mind is sharp. And Alma understands her, learns her ways, which leads to the breakthrough.
Miss Lily keeps saying, Mancore.
Exactly, and Alma finally gets it, the Manticore bookstore.
So they go. Alma pushing Miss Lily in the wheelchair.
They get to the window display, local author sign, stacks of books. Alma looks closer.
And sees the cover. The Dream-ary by Alma Neal.
Edited and with an introduction by R. Hawkins.
Oh, relief. It wasn't stolen at all.
It was published, with Alma's name on it, championed by her mentor. The ultimate surprise, the ultimate validation. The suspicion just vanishes.
The final scene we have is breakfast with Clara.
Clara asks Alma to sign a copy of her book, and she reveals the full story. Miss Lily was going to talk to Alma about sending the story to her publisher the day of the stroke. Miss Aaliyah found out later, and they decided to publish it as a surprise.
Wow. So the manuscript Alma saw was part of the plan, just not the way she thought.
Exactly. Alma signs the book for her mom, to the best mom in the world, love, Alma, using her calligraphy. Perfect touch.
And she reads the introduction from Miss Lily, Gifted Imagination, Special Friend, and then her own story's title page.
The Dream-ary, she read, by Alma Neal, full circle.
Incredible. What a deep dive that was. From that quirky story assignment through all the secrets and fears to becoming a published author.
It really shows how creativity can find a way, how mentorship can pop up in the most unexpected places, and how easily misunderstanding can happen.
That journey from suspicion back to trust regarding the manuscript, that was intense. It really makes you think about how we fill in the blanks when we don't have all the information.
Definitely. And how much courage it takes sometimes, both to create something unique like Alma did, and to offer guidance and trust like Miss Lily eventually did, even after being hurt.
So here's something to maybe mull over. How much do our own expectations, or maybe our fears, shape how we interpret other people's actions? Like Alma assuming the worst about the manuscript. When does suspicion protect us, and when does it just prevent us from seeing generosity or kindness?
That's a great question. When does that inner voice of doubt serve us, and when does it mislead us? Lots to think about there.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Alma. Hope you found some food for thought.
Until next time.